Hi, everyone. Welcome. Today is April 1st, 2025. It's a pleasure to welcome Dr. Gewehr, my friend and colleague, back for our special edition of Veterinary Entrepreneurial Office Hours. So, in this special edition, we're talking about specifically being a veterinary professional or an animal health professional while also trying to be an entrepreneur. So, Dr. Gewehr, thank you so much for joining us again. We were already off on a conversation and we're already talking about technology related things. So I'll let you say hi first, and then as I mentioned, I have a pet peeve I want to talk about.
Yeah, I want to hear about it. Hey, everyone. My name is João Gewehr. Should I introduce myself
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
usual, like the whole
Yeah, go for it.
curriculum thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, so I'm currently working as the medical director of veterinary cannabis. I provide guidance for patients abroad, outside of Brazil, and I also work with Brazilian patients here in person and also online. I'm the founder of Bliss Education, which is a company that focuses on cannabis education for veterinarians. And I also have a master in veterinary medicine, the conventional and integrative medicine, on which I have a published paper on. For now, just like a short intro. I've done longer ones, and if you haven't saw it, we have the
And
recordings.
I will include a link to some of we have like a bio where you've done a little bit more of a full bio. So whenever I do the notes for this, I'll send some links there. Do you have a good website
Yeah,
for Bliss? I don't know that I have a good one to link to. Can you?
I've typed in the chat.
Perfect.
Actually switched from education to school. Basically, escola means school in Portuguese because my main audience is in Brazil, right? So I found it a little bit confusing for them for having education on the name, and a few of them didn't know exactly what was going on.
I like this one. I can tell it means school, even though I don't speak Portuguese. Well, welcome back. We
Yeah.
had such a fun discussion last time. Last time, Tanya from our community joined us. And so, as a reminder to everyone who's listening, if you ever want to hop on and just have a conversation, please do. We're here from 10 to 11:30 Mountain Time, Tuesdays and Fridays. And first Tuesday, Dr. Gewehr joins me. And I also, if you want to submit questions in advance, send them our way. And then I actually have a couple of questions that we might get to later. So, community chat time is the purpose of these office hours. Okay, can we talk about my pet peeve in technology spaces?
Yeah, I want to hear it. When you say like pet peeve, you explain that to me, but say that for our Brazilian audience is
Yeah,
something that annoys you, right?
yeah, and I would love to find a better phrase for it. It means something that annoys you, but you kind of cultivate the annoyance. So a pet peeve, like you don't let it go. It's maybe not that big of a thing, but
Yeah,
you're sort of like, I kind of keep that close to me. So I don't know that I love that phrasing, but
yeah,
it means something that you
yeah. But in
let continue
Portuguese,
to annoy you.
in Portuguese we say ranço is like a slang,
Uh-huh.
and ranço that thing that whenever you get ranço, you'll never let it go.
Yes,
You know,
hunso.
like it's
That's
something
what
that
I want to
annoys
talk
you
about.
and annoys you deeply, and it just, I don't know, it just gets you from within.
Yes, that one. Exactly, exactly. So, my hunsu for chatting about today is sort of the dependence that being an entrepreneur in today's world, virtual world, digital world, requires you to rely on the programming mind map decision tree of other people who I find rarely have my same either interface design that I want to interact with, or the purpose of what they want to build their program for, or how far out they've thought how their program can be used. So I'll give an example. We're on Zoom right now, and I love Zoom as a platform. They've been in our community since COVID. We kind of started with them when a lot of people did, and we've built a lot of things around gathering in a virtual workspace. And it's just a really big part of our community to share virtual connections. But every time they make an update, it means that all of these series of changes need to happen throughout our community, but we don't necessarily know what those are until we've implemented the update, gone with the change, tried this new feature. And that's across every platform because every platform is sort of gaming for the new thing that we can put out. We're taking care of our users. And while I appreciate that, and here's sort of the pet peeve part, I appreciate that everyone's putting in the effort of developing their product and trying to serve their audience better. But I feel like there's this piece being missed about the cost to the user to actually keep up with the updates as they come, especially if they're infrastructure programs. Things like Airtable, Slack, we use those a lot. Um, Zapier is sort of similar to what you were probably going to talk about from the AI side, like the integration tools. And so there's a lot of things that have to change for one little tweak on someone's design platform. So that's my pet peeve for discussion first is just the cost, brain power cost, and no code, I don't code, but just the programming design cost of trying to keep up with the gimmicks, maybe they're usable or not, that get put out by platforms. And it makes me upset. It makes me peeved.
Yeah,
What are
yeah.
your
What
thoughts on
annoys
that?
me is that no, my thoughts is we have a number of different apps, right? So it's not like one app is updating every
Right,
6 months and you need to deal with.
right.
It's like every app updates every 2 weeks and you need to keep track of every single change every single time. You
Yes,
know, and sometimes that's the thing that annoys a little bit about the automation side, is that sometimes when one app makes a change, everything stops working,
yes,
right?
yes,
And you need to find out what's going on, what's wrong, which app is making the error happen, you
yes.
know? So yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky, and I agree with you. I like actually. I'm not a really big fan of Zoom. I
Mm.
gotta admit that. I hope this doesn't disconnect our call right now, like they are hearing us.
What do you use? What do you
I'm
like
not really
instead?
fond of.
What do you use?
I like to use Meets. I like
Oh,
to
okay.
use Google Meet.
Okay.
I know sometimes it's I'm not gonna say annoying, but what I've saw a few comments online is that they increased the price,
Mm,
and I saw that they emailed me about the prices of like having something stored in cloud or something
mm,
like that.
hmm.
But what I like about Google in general is that they have different number of tools that integrate by themselves.
Yeah,
So you
absolutely.
have Drive. I have like an Android phone, so it already like uploads the pictures and stuff like that, which is something that's very basic. But I like that they're like I use Google Calendar, right? We do have Zoom on Calendar, and it already sends the invitation. But I don't know.
Hmm.
I think the integration tools work better because they're all from the same company, you know. So I use Gmail, I use Google Calendar, I use Google Meet, I use Google Drive.
Hmm.
So usually for me, I think it's a little bit easier, you know, and
Yeah.
most of my things are in Google. I try to use other emails, I don't quite like them. Gmail is kind of useful, like I use YouTube, which is a Google account.
Yeah.
So we have different number of tools that are from the same company, and although that can be bad, like unifying all of the things, it does serve a purpose of already having an, how did you say, like a native integration?
Yeah, to have a native integration or a native program, a native feature to the app itself versus something that's
Yeah,
laid on top or an add-on.
yeah, I prefer Google Meet. I'm sorry, Zoom. That's just my take on it.
I interact with Google Meet from just other people who have that as their normal meeting software, and it is very much a different mindset that's designed it, which I like it quite a bit too in some different capacities. Mostly I like Zoom because I can move its window around, and I have a harder time using my tabs, so it's just like a familiarity feature. But I like what you mentioned, the need for diversity in our technology as well, because while it's easier, sometimes those one changes can then be a virus throughout your entire set of platforms, which is true across like agriculture or across animal health. Like it's just interesting that it's always that balance. What am I going to pick? The easier, sort of the smoother because they're integrated in the same, or the challenge of having something different because it might act as a barrier or a safeguard if something goes wrong. It's just it's pretty I find it mind-blowing and mind-bending and exhausting as the executive director to make some of the app choices, the infrastructure choices, because I don't necessarily trust the company on the other side. They have to be exuding good leadership on their team to make something that's stable enough for me to utilize to have stability in my ecosystem. And I frequently, just particularly this year, feel a lot of frustration with larger companies that I expect to have their stuff more together. I have higher expectations
Yeah.
of some companies than I've seen in 2025.
Yeah, but it's that balance between trying to upgrade things and just, leave it as it is.
Yeah.
Like you want to add new features, it's going to be updated, it's
Yeah.
going to have some bugs, it's going
Yeah.
to have problem solving. I like Zoom. I don't get what you're saying about messing with the windows in Zoom, because
Mm.
one thing that I don't like about Zoom is exactly because I'm not in my browser
Oh,
you
interesting.
know? So if I need to use the browser, I need to close my window and go to the browser.
Mm-hmm.
While in Google Meet, especially now, I think that it's something that's recent.
Mm.
I don't remember Google having this feature. I don't know. I guess like 2 years ago. But when I switch the tab of the meeting, it pops up like a small window with the
Yeah.
video,
Yeah.
so I can just move it around and I can still see the video and,
Yeah.
do something else that I need to do if necessary.
Yeah.
While on Zoom, I don't have that. And what I like about Zoom is having the breakout rooms. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think Google Meet has that option, right?
Is there a way to combine the two? Has anyone found or played with a way to have a simultaneous meeting?
I don't think so, at least. I don't think so because they provide the same service, right? Like usually when you integrate some tools,
Mm-hmm.
you integrate because you want the functionality of one and the functionality of the other, or the
Mm-hmm.
service that they provide. So integrate them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see how to integrate like both videos, or something like that.
I feel like you could share someone could be on Zoom and share their Google Meet browser window. And then that would be displayed within Zoom. And then someone else could be on Meet. I'm not sure that would have a purpose, but it's interesting to think about what are the rules here? What are the absolute definite rules that I can and can't do? So then decide if I want to break them or not.
Yeah, I want to show you something. I think this tool that
Okay,
I
show me.
sent you, I think
Show
is
me.
going to be really helpful. Yeah, but I was gonna say something about Zoom. I don't think you can actually use Zoom and Google Meet at the same time. At least for me, I couldn't find a way to turn it off,
Mm,
but I do have something that cancels all the noise that comes from other sources when I'm in Google Meet.
mm,
So if I'm in a meeting and I try to play a video on
mm-hmm,
another tab, it
mm-hmm.
doesn't play the sound,
Yeah,
and if it actually plays, but it's weird. It's
yeah,
like really low, it's like really, I don't know exactly what happens.
yeah.
There is like a notification that I get whenever I join the call. It's something like this, safe AI sound, something like that. It's on,
Mm,
you know. So basically, I don't think you can use it because I think the sound that comes from Zoom would
yeah.
be rendered down by Google.
Mm, that's really interesting. Well, it ties into our
Yeah.
WhatsApp conversation. Like, what are the actual rules here? And can I integrate it in an interesting way? Do you want to show your program while we're recording? For our audience, we're gonna look at the AI that Dr. Gewehr is working on, but we'll turn off the recording so we don't share any trade secrets.
Yeah, I can show you later a few examples, but I can't show you exactly what I'm going on because it's like the back end. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
exciting.
how things, yeah, how things are working on the background. But I can show later after we stop the recording, like the general picture. If
Hmm.
anyone wants to automate something, they might use the tool. It's pretty intuitive,
Hmm.
but easier. I don't know. I just found it more intuitive.
Yeah.
So basically, my idea is to integrate a Telegram, because we can do it on WhatsApp, but WhatsApp's a little bit trickier to integrate. I talked to my friend about it. He's like specializing in automations. WhatsApp, it's a little bit tricky because of Meta, and they have different number of safety measures on which the integration is a bit harder.
Hmm.
You need to be the official API for Meta. It's kind of tricky. You need to have like a company that's certified by Meta to do
Oh,
so. So
Gotcha.
usually what my friend told me is that people who use WhatsApp for their tools, they use another tool to integrate WhatsApp, basically.
Mm,
They use another tool to just like a middleman between WhatsApp and the tool that they use.
yeah,
So
that makes sense. I we play with WhatsApp for the disaster um, crowd. So we have a bunch of different organizations that are sort of in this WhatsApp group. And the Australian disaster team, or at least the one that Dr. Selena works with, she says that they use WhatsApp as well. So I'm really interested in WhatsApp as a platform, but I found the same thing that it's hard for me to get some of my other apps integrated or to fill in. I was really, really wanting to use Google Voice for a phone number for our reception team and our consultation team and some patient care things I'm working on. And it won't accept a Google Voice number. So there's just some pieces that I have run into with wanting WhatsApp to be
what's
a little
Google
bit more
Voice?
flexible. Like
I don't think I use that.
we use Google Workspace, Gmail and
Yeah.
Calendar. They offer a service of Google Voice, a phone number, so a an online phone service essentially. You can just have an extra phone
Okay.
number.
Kind of like WhatsApp.
Yes, but WhatsApp, you enter your phone number. So you have an established phone number, and then you use that to participate in WhatsApp. Can you have a WhatsApp number that is not, I don't know how to say that, a WhatsApp number that comes from WhatsApp itself? I don't think that they offer discrete phone numbers. They're offering a service that you can use with a phone number. Is that right?
I see. I see what you're saying. Like the Google Voice provides the phone number while WhatsApp uses a phone number you already have.
Yeah, exactly. But they wouldn't do Google Voice as a separate phone number. So I just need to get a different phone number from like Verizon as a phone carrier here in the US. Like that I have my phone number and I use that for WhatsApp. So anyway, I'm
Yeah,
very
they
interested in
won't
learning
let you
more
do
about
that.
the integration pieces. But I've also never played with the
Yeah.
business side of WhatsApp. Have you? Have you seen the difference between the
Yeah.
personal and business platform?
Yeah, so basically, I have the two of them. I have my personal WhatsApp, which is one phone number, and I have my professional WhatsApp, which is another phone number with
Hmm.
another picture, where it's a whole
Hmm.
different thing. It's another
Hmm.
app that I use. I mean, for the services that we provide, I don't find it so useful or so different, I guess. It does have like a number of different options.
Hmm.
You can have automated messages
Mm,
like that's already on the app. It's not like using AI or something like that. It's something that's very basic. Like
mm,
if it's after 6 o'clock, send a message telling that we're closed
yeah.
or telling that we're gonna answer the next day. You can have like kind of like a profile on which you can have your products.
Hmm.
So you can just add your products, and if people click on your name, like on your picture, they can see like your catalog. So
Yeah.
they can see the products that you offer or the services that you offer. They have a few quick commands that you can have, and you can actually save on the app. So you can type. I don't know exactly the name of the symbol that you use. It's like a
Slash,
bar, like a
forward
tilted
slash.
slash.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can type like slash and it pops up like a different number of options
Hmm.
for you that you can actually save the messages before.
Hmm.
So you can just type slash and send your bank account for them to transfer the money. You
Mm,
can type like slash answer, I don't know, this product is ready to ship
yeah.
or something like that. You can have already some quick answers. Actually, yesterday before I was going to bed, I saw an advertising for like a tool that you can integrate on your WhatsApp,
Hmm.
and it becomes something like, do you know what a CRM is? A
A
customer
customer
relations
relation manager.
manager.
Yeah. 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 CRM. Hmm.
Yeah, so basically it turns the WhatsApp into this CRM. Basically, you can add notes to clients,
Hmm.
like as a reminder of something. You can schedule text messages, like the day after tomorrow, ask how a patient is going.
Hmm.
It turns something like, I think Airtable has this option, but kind of like a Trello, the website. The way to
I do
organize
know
with,
Trello with like a column view. Yeah, it's called
yeah,
a
yeah,
Kanban,
yeah.
Kanban, just sort of the column, move your tasks along idea.
Yeah, yeah. You can turn your WhatsApp like into this model.
Mm,
I didn't try it out yet, but I found it interesting. And basically, it's a separate tool. Like if you only use WhatsApp Business, it's the first things that I was saying.
mm. So it's not native to WhatsApp. It's a program, like an add-on to WhatsApp itself.
Yeah, the native one, it's the catalog.
Mm,
It's the slash thing when you can save messages beforehand.
hmm.
And yeah, and basically that's it. Like there's
Yeah,
not much of a difference between the normal WhatsApp and the business WhatsApp, I guess. At
yeah.
least there might be some tools that I'm not really aware that I don't use. Let's see if there's something
How
that
how
brings
did
to
you
mind.
get your other phone number? So you said so you have a separate phone number for each account. Where does your other phone number come from?
Oh, you can actually link your Facebook and Instagram account into WhatsApp. I think that's basically it, like the WhatsApp business.
Hmm.
My other phone number is a different phone number. Basically, it's just
Yeah.
like my cell phone holds two SIM cards.
Yeah, that's what
So
I would
one
have to do.
SIM card goes for WhatsApp and the other for WhatsApp business,
Yeah.
but it's just like a different number.
Yeah. That's so exciting. Let's chat for a minute about why you're building something, just background need in the entrepreneurial space. I just did, or am beginning to participate in an AI demo, a note-taking demo from a startups group that one of my mentors participates in. And it was definitely interesting to watch their demo. You could definitely tell where the bugs are. And my chief question was languages, because that's such a big piece for our community is how does the AI handle language and different practitioner styles and voices? And then we also work in some really novel medicines, cannabis medicine, psychedelic medicine, business, things like that. So a lot of the terminology and acronyms, I have doubts that it's going to do very well on, but it's very interesting to see it kind of emerge as a technology.
Why do you have doubts?
I don't know that I've seen anything do listen well to acronyms, particularly in the cannabis space. Do you think have you found one that does?
Okay. I don't know about acronyms. I mean, I think AI works great for audio. I think
Mm-hmm.
there is a lot of room to improve,
Mm-hmm.
especially like the voices that it has. The thing about AI is it's so new, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
so new that most people don't use it or don't understand it. I include myself in those people. Like I don't quite understand how it is. I use it quite a lot, but I don't know exactly how it's built from
Mm,
within like the back end of things. But I said that before, and I still believe that. I think if the world follows the way that it's already going with AI, like if we don't have an apocalypse like in the next couple of months or the
well,
next couple of years,
sort of coming soon.
um, and society continues to work, I think AI is going to be a staple piece
Yeah.
of our technology. It has the pros and cons, just like everything. Like we don't know exactly how the next generation is going to be affected by it. Just like we don't know exactly, I don't think we found out a healthy way to use the internet,
Yeah.
like the whole globalization of things. I think it's something that mankind is still working on it because it's so new
Yeah.
for us. It's not like we are working with the internet for the past 300 years or something. And especially because the speed that things improve are much faster now.
Mm,
Like 300 years ago, we see a lot of these examples in Brazil. We were colonized by Portugal, so
mm,
they came by boats like 500 years ago, 400 years ago. And whenever we need to talk to them, we will need like to have a letter and just ship it over there. It took like 3 months if the boat ever made it back.
yeah.
And right now it's like instant. I remember
Yeah.
that I was a kid and amazed us like when I was, I don't know, 10 years old. My aunt lives in Europe And whenever Skype came around, and we were like, hey man, we can talk to her like on a video call.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's not so long ago, like mankind wise, like talking about the timing of things. So I think internet is very new, and AI it's even more new.
Yeah.
Um, it's something that we are going to learn with it. We're going to grow with it, and basically, what I think it's going to be the revolution that's going to come with AI. It's going to be the same thing that came with the internet.
Mm.
Like whenever we had like cell phones, I guess not even so long ago, like 10 years ago, I used to have that. How can I say this? Um, like a brick phone, you know,
Hmm. Oh, yes, yes, like yes, I know what you mean. Yeah,
like the
like a
giant
bigger
cell
a bigger
phone
phone,
that
yeah,
it,
that has a handle.
yeah, yeah. Like it wasn't so big or like in the 80s or 90s, I guess. It had like those really big phones,
Yeah,
but it was like a really big phone. Like if you
yeah.
threw it in someone's head, you would have hurt him. Uh, and that's not so long ago. Like 10 years ago, you used to have that phone. They didn't have internet.
Yeah,
And 10 years later, you have internet in everything. You
yeah,
have internet on your cell phone. You have already like Wi-Fi on your notebook. It's not something that you need to install it. You have internet on your television. You have everywhere. Everywhere you go to the mall, you have Wi-Fi.
so
You
bad.
have coverage of like, you say like 4G, right? 5G. You
Hmm.
can watch movies wherever you are using that internet. And I think AI is going to be the same. Like it's
Yeah,
going to be present on your refrigerator, it's going to be present on your oven, it's going to be present on your washing machine. It's going to be everywhere, of course. Not right now. It's going to take a little while. It's going to be expensive at first, but I'm seeing like 5 to 10 years. I think it's going to be everywhere, basically.
I love AI as a tool, and I'm excited to learn what you're going to teach us about some of its uses, but it frightens me from the human use of it. I think there's such a risk of lazy use, selfish use, sort of the not, especially in the early stages, not thinking, what's the goal? What's the reason? What's the outcome? What does this do? What does this mean? And especially as humans worldwide are so exhausted. I think that is really our pandemic right now is fatigue and just exhaustion in every capacity. That's a really dangerous time to put any new tool, especially a new tool that has so many implications, because there are so many things that can get implemented just from neglect. Like no one intended it, but no one also put enough effort to think through it. So that part concerns me. I'll also mention that it is very physically hard to be in today's technology world for me. Like blue light from computers, I am really sensitive to. I'm finding out Wi-Fi, I think I'm also really sensitive to. So I don't know that I mean, I would say I have an allergy to Wi-Fi. I don't know that anyone else would agree with that, but it's sometimes so hard to be in, I don't even have a term for that, like uncared for electronic environments where the light exposure and just the type of wavelengths being put out is not being carefully thought about. It's like really physically hard. And every time I say that to one of my healthcare practitioners, like my acupuncturist, they're like, no, that's a thing. No one else really complains about that. But if I go sit in like an infrared sauna, right? I don't know if you've had an experience of that, but a sort of a dry sauna. So not the one where you put water on heated stones and kind of make a steam sauna, but it's just infrared wavelengths, near infrared. And those are so impactful to me. So I just find it hard to believe that then blue radiation or blue light, the other wavelengths are also not as impactful when we have so much science about infrared. Anyway, so I also think about that. It's not just the technology itself, what we do with it, the outcome, but just literally being in a digital world, I find physically painful sometimes. What do you think about that? Do you ever have strain from being in Wi-Fi environments?
Yeah, I don't think I have about having on being like a Wi-Fi because I think even if I did, I'm exposed to it all the time.
You
So I
can't get
will
away
not
from it.
realize because you can't get away from it. Like every single house has one, even if you don't have it, your neighbor's gonna have. Like if you try to join like a Wi-Fi in your phone, it's going to be like 30 options. So you do have this exposition, but I don't think I ever felt like weird about it.
Mm,
Like felt it like affecting me in some
yeah.
way. What concerns me the most about AI, I mean, there is a different bunch of scenarios, and I already spent like one night watching some YouTube videos of some conspiracy theorists, I guess, but they were
Yeah.
talking about different scenarios
Yeah.
that could happen.
Tell
So
us
it's
one. I
something
want to hear
like
one.
Skynet. Do you know Skynet?
Yes.
Skynet from
What
the
is that Terminator series? What?
yeah, I don't
Yes.
I forgot the
That was pretty
name.
good. I'm horrible with pop culture. Score.
Yeah, but yeah, it's Terminator, the
Okay.
one like
Yes.
AI takes over
Yeah.
and kills everybody or slaves us.
Hmm.
There is the scenario of have you ever watched I think it's Wall-E, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes. When where there's like blob humans floating around in chairs. Is that the right movie?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. So people really lazy, like
Okay.
they can't even walk
Hmm.
because they live like in a spaceship,
Hmm.
because they destroyed the world
Yeah.
basically, like with pollution and
Yeah.
everything, and they just sit around with screens and milkshakes, you know, and they are just
So
lazy because
scary.
AI takes care of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I do think that's a possibility. But there is the pros of you said about exhaustion, right?
Yeah.
A
Fatigue.
lot of the exhaustion may come exactly because of the workload that we have today.
Mm,
First, and I said that then, and I believe that now. Um, we are not made for the world that we have today.
true.
Like biologically, we are
True.
not made for that. Like I wasn't supposed to be talking to you right now.
Right.
You know, I wasn't
Absolutely.
supposed to be in my house. And we do have a lot of comforts. Like I'm not exactly complaining all the way. I think we do have pros and cons. We do
Yeah.
have a very comfortable life compared to our ancestors, but it does bring the consequences of it
Yeah.
on which we are in a very fast world. We don't rest. We are going to bed with like this really bright white light or blue light in our faces. We are all the time thinking and worried. You know, it's not something like, hey, I'm just with my buddies. I'm going hunting, you
Hmm.
know, and, you know, grab my spear and, you know, grab my bow and let's track some animals
Yeah.
and let's hunt them down and
Yeah.
eat them, you know. And I think that's what we kind of what we biologically were made to do, you
Yeah.
know. Like I'm not complaining to not live it like in the middle of the woods. I'm not saying that, but we are not made to be sitting in a chair 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day watching at a screen. So
Yeah.
we have like the small screen on which we mess around like sometime, and then we come like to the middle screen that we mess some other time, and then we have the big screen on which we watch movies before we go to bed, you know.
Yes.
And that's tough. Mentally,
Yes.
that's tough.
Yes.
And I think AI actually comes to solve a lot of the workload that we have
Mm,
on it. Just like we were talking about having automated messages. I
mm,
don't think it's going to be a replacement. I do think we're always going to have like a human to work with the machine, you know, that knows how to operate the machine. But it isn't necessarily a bad thing to have that. Of course, there is other things like job losses and stuff like that. People who work doing this and will probably be unemployed because of AI, because the AI with one person can do the job of 10 people.
mm.
But when it comes to rest, at least I think it can solve a lot of the this hard labor. You know, like texting all the time, getting emails all the time. I think it's something that can save some time, and if we
Mhm.
can use it wisely, maybe we can save some time and have some better rest. You know?
I have a comment. Um,
Please.
I agree with all those thoughts, all the concerns, and also all the potential really cool uses. I would love to add to the conversation also the idea, though, that we're sort of wrong from the beginning. So the need to use AI to fix the fatigue, I think that's absolutely true and will happen and can be very cleverly used to essentially fix a wrong. I think that's kind of the comment that I'd like to make of I don't know that we should be needing this as the sort of point. And to fix it with something that might create other problems is just classically our mistakes over human experience. To do a thing because you kind of reacted to something that was bad. But here's where I think the important part is instead of going back and saying, oh, that was a crisis moment, let's rework the things that sort of happened or were necessary for that really hard time and decide what we want to keep. Oh, that was useful. We don't need that. Like, go back through it and work on it and then move forward. I think if that happened and that was more in our culture as humans, we would be everyone, the planet would be much better off instead of having these crises, having something just happen because it gets us through a hard moment, but then keeping it and then trying to fix the problem that it's create. Oh, let's another crisis. Let's fix it again. I was watching this documentary on the Dust Bowl in the US. Are you familiar with that? Do you know that
No.
saga? Humans came to the plains of the US where it's really fertile and they tore up all the native grasses and planted wheat and planted too much wheat and then tried to plant more and it didn't work. And then there was just dust and completely destroyed, an ecosystem and themselves at the same time. But the type of devastation that we can do by just trying to fix a bad decision, fix a bad decision, fix a bad decision, instead of going back and maybe we're wrong in the beginning. So I struggle with that a lot. I agree with the potential that AI brings, but when I hear it's going to fix the problem, I feel like, ugh, maybe we should not fix the problem. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You're saying that we should take a step back and first think about how we came to the problem in the first place,
Yes, that's well
right?
said. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it comes to that very, I'm not gonna say basic, but this very, um, the very root of the problem, I
Mm,
guess, which is decision making, right? Like who's making the big decisions?
yeah.
Who's making the things that are changing the world, you
Yeah.
know? Uh, People who are interested in changing the world for better for everyone or for themselves,
Yeah.
you know, for making the world better in which way? Making
Mm-hmm.
the world better for like our grandchildren
Mm-hmm.
or making the world better for themselves. So that rules the world, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and that's like the guys who are basically, I'm not going to say only in the US, I think that's something that's worldwide, but that's like old politicians. They have like 60 years, 70
Mm-hmm.
years and they have another culture. They come from another time.
Mm-hmm.
They are not interested in making the world better for their grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
They are just grasping into power. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we do have a lot of psychopaths who are in those positions. They are not people that have a conscience. They don't think about the world as you and me. I mean, we may have our differences as we do with everybody, but we are not, I don't want to say empty inside because I don't think every single politician is like that. But I do think we have people who don't have a conscience,
Mm-hmm.
who don't care at all for the world and for the people. And I think people who, I don't think AI is the problem or even technology. I think if we had people who were with the best intentions in mind, they, they would make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. We don't know about the future if we are doing the right thing or not, but we would have people who are making more conscious decisions,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I think the way it is, the root of the problem with AI and with ecosystems and with the world in general in a lot of decision making is just that, it's who are making these decisions. Because, I mean, I think we are responsible for our lives, and I think we cannot be dependent on, we cannot blame everything on them. You know, we do have our responsibilities, but I think when it comes to AI and the environment, um, how can I say this? Um, we can have a difference in our lives, but we need to see who are making like the big changes. You know, I guess that's it. Please go ahead. Yeah,
So I have
yeah,
one friend that I think fits into that picture really well, of really, really good at the short-sighted, good for the immediate tomorrow, and good for that person in the immediate tomorrow, and really good at making those decisions, and can very much convince themselves that, well, this is good for everyone because most people around me will be good tomorrow. And it, I think it, for me, it always brings me back to, again, the root reason of short-sightedness. And I feel like that always trips up us as humans, is thinking within our lifetime, thinking within a couple of generations, and not really having good mechanisms. Although we should be able to write it down, AI should help us, like being able to remember, being able to look back. But there is, I think, that internal moral, ethical, individual choice, no matter what you are, where you are, of I want to look. I'm going to take the time to see if this has been tried before, or maybe there's another option. And so again, it gets to that fatigued decision, like, I'll just try it because I need it, versus what are really the consequences here. And I just think that's so incredibly hard. But anyway, so my friend, I is very classic of what you're describing. And they said to me once, I'm the tip of the spear. I am, really important in impacting what happens in this world. And it was true. They have a lot of, like, if I say gravity in the world, I don't necessarily mean force of gravity, but just the things they do really impact just a lot of things around them. And so their comment was, I'm the tip of the spear. I'm sort of that decision maker, and I'm the one in charge. And I said, I think actually the person throwing the spear is a little bit more in charge than the tip of the spear. And I actually didn't mean it to be rude. The conversation didn't
yeah.
go very well after that. But for this conversation, what I want to chat about was that bigger idea when I think about just myself as human, and also the sometimes easier perspective of, oh, if they would make a better decision, if they would change, I could do better in the world. And I think a lot about that analogy of, where do I think I am? Am I the tip of the spear? And if someone would throw me in the right direction, I could do this better. Or am I, and what I would like to do personally is change the paradigm and be either the person throwing the spear, or, again, for another mind twist, the bacteria in the gut that is controlling the person throwing the spear, that says they're hungry and they should go kill a rabbit. So actually, I think it might be the bacteria and the fungus in my stomach that is causing all of these different things. So first, I want to hear your comments on that, but I want to talk about an example of where microorganisms really rule our decisions much more than we probably give them credit for. What are your thoughts first before I tell that story?
Yeah, when I hear about this, about microorganisms, yeah, that what I was trying to say about, it's not exactly like blame shifting.
Mm.
I think it's hard not to be tired in a world that we are constantly bombarded by information, you know,
Yes.
and I think we evolved in like to a modern world on which we are concerned all the time.
Yes.
You know, like there is a war in, I think it's like the Gaza Strip, right?
Hmm.
So I'm not taking sides. I'm just saying that it's concerning. You
Yes.
know, it's like we are gonna have like a third world war, and
Yes.
then we have Russia, and we have Ukraine, and then we
Hmm.
have U.S. elections, and then we have a hurricane here, and we
Yes.
have an earthquake there, and we have all of this bombardment of information on which we kind of crave because
Yeah.
we do feed on it, and I myself included. Um, I do think it's hard for us to care when we can see, like, let's, as an example, we need to save water, right? or we need to stop the emission of carbon dioxide.
Hmm.
You can't use your car. And I'm not taking sides, I'm not saying anything, I'm just setting an example on which you are being blamed for using your car
Right.
and you are concerned about it and you feel awful about it because every time you drive, you think, hey man, I'm destroying the world. I could be a little better. I could make a better environment. And then you see like the statistics and 80% of the emissions, they come from the other side of the globe,
Mm.
you know? 80% of it, it's like industry.
Yeah.
80% of it, it's something, I mean, not to shift blame, sometimes you can actually use the infrastructure that this pollution is bringing, but sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
Like US pollutes 80% of the CO2 emissions. I'm
Hmm.
just saying as an example. Uh, and you blame yourself for something that's like 0.0001%. So you don't want to shift blames. I think you have to set an example. You
Hmm.
can't be a hypocrite about it, like, hey, I'm saving the world, or you need to save the world while I don't do the bare minimum,
Right.
but it's hard to care so much if you see like you're such a small part of the problem,
Hmm.
you know? And I think I'm very practical about it. I don't think I have a solution for it, but I do think we should focus on the solution,
Mm.
because sometimes, and I see that a lot, like in human relations, like in personal relations, on which you like to blame the other person, because I'm this north wing guy and you're the south wing, just not to say names or not
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
address
Yeah. Yeah.
sides. And I'm like, hey, you're wrong because of this. And you're
Hmm.
like, hey, you're wrong because of that. We're both wrong. I mean, we're both right in our accusation,
Yeah.
but we don't come anywhere because none of us are going to back down. We are going to be prideful and it's going to be like, hey, screw you. I don't wanna change. I want you to change.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going on forever, I guess. But I definitely agree with you. Like, if I'm saying that I'm the tip of the spear was the first thing that I thought when you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you can be the tip of the spear all you want. You're not being the decision maker.
Yeah.
You're not the one guiding the spear. You're
Yeah.
just being like a pawn in someone else's game.
A
You know?
tool, a greater whole. How do you increase a positive impact while balancing not being fatigued more? It just is an incredible problem. Um, can I tell you
Yeah.
my controlled by other things story?
Please go ahead.
Okay, so let me see if I have it actually here. This is one of my current favorite books. Have you ever seen this one? Entangled Life by Merlin Sheldrake. I'll find a link to it and put it in the notes. Fantastic book, really, really amazing. Speaks about mushroom fungi as a kingdom, a class, a group of species that there are so many of that we don't even know about, and the few that we do are really incredible, but interesting because we as humans can actually interact with them really well, even though they're very, very different. So they're outside of the animal kingdom. They're completely different from how you and I are structured or wired, but yet they're incredibly important to how we exist. So from our gut microbiome to what's on our skin to everything in our world, just around us everywhere. And so the book does a really good job of talking about a lot of different types of mushrooms and different uses. And what strikes me all the time throughout this book is there is not a right answer in terms of how life decides to make its way. And there are fungi that are individualized enough that they each like individual fungi have different techniques about how they capture a nematode, that some can create this like sticky web and lasso nematode. Others can shoot this little barb into their mouth and destroy it. Like there's really individualized hunting techniques among fungi, which is just amazing. And then there are incredible other classes of fungi, like one that I'm curious if you know this, leaf cutter ants, they don't actually eat the leaves. I have always thought that they ate the leaves. They brought it back for themselves, but they bring the leaves back to feed a fungus that then they makes
Yeah. Yeah. I,
nutrients for
I
them to
know about
consume.
that. Yeah.
What is your knowledge about that? I
Yeah.
that was mind blowing for me. I didn't know that. What is your do you have anything to add to that piece?
No, I don't remember the specifics, like the details,
Uh-huh.
but I know about ants like using fungi to
Yeah.
produce food for themselves.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't think it's cellulose, that's how you say it.
Cellulose, maybe?
Yeah, that I don't know if ants can digest them. At least I know that we can't.
Mm-hmm.
So they use the fungi to do that and then eat it, right?
Yes. Yeah. 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 Exactly. And the fact that there will be areas of forest devastated, so forest deforestation by ants for their fungi, and that if there are the plants that they are eating or taking apart to bring back to the fungi start producing different chemicals that harm the fungi will send instructions to the ants to find something else. So that's an amazing example, I think, of who's the tip of the spear, like who's actually doing the instructions here. But also that you
Yeah.
can
Yeah, I
see
get what you're saying.
devastation of an ecosystem, like some of the images in a few other documentaries I've been watching, like the forest is gone. Like the ants have stripped all of the forest to feed the fungi. And that seems very concerningly the path that we've chosen of not really thinking about who or what, even internal to us, is directing us, what it's telling us to do, the how my gut biome controls my serotonin levels and my mood and what I choose and what I foods that I eat. It just strikes me all the time that I think there are many examples of where life doesn't necessarily choose a right way or a amazing, blissful, peaceful, everyone works together, collaborative way, or this really destructive other choices. But I think we as humans have more of the choice to decide. And so that's where I think that I really feel the impact of wanting to make better choices myself, of there is a many millennia of human choices before me. But because I am here right now in this world, I have more advocacy to choose a different path than simply following instructions that others before me have had or that my gut's telling me to do. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree with the personal responsibility. I just think nature is nature. You
Yes.
know, like we are not talking about not having life on planet Earth anymore. We are talking about we are not gonna be here to see it. You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
regardless, how can I say this? We had like I think it was four main extensions
Mm-hmm. Mm,
throughout
mm,
like the whole time that
mm-hmm.
we know Earth as it is, like with life.
Yeah.
We had dinosaurs, and if we take like dinosaurs, we are present on this Earth, like the whole mankind, for like, I don't know, 0.5% of the time that dinosaurs were around.
Yes.
So they were extinct by something that's not exactly in their control.
Right.
They cannot predict it, but mainly we came after that.
Yeah.
Like we had four, I don't know how you say it in English, but you had like main extinctions
Mm-hmm.
on which 95% of the species were extincted, but some species thrived,
Right.
right? So if we continue to go down certain roads, we are just harming ourselves
Yeah.
and the main animals around us, you know? It's going to be something like, hey, we might kill ourselves and kill every animal around us. But after that, there is going to be nature, there is going to be life. So I don't know, nature for me, it's always a fight for survival.
Mm-hmm.
We may not see it, and I think that comes to the comfort that I was talking about. It's hard to see the survival when we have everything granted for us.
Yeah.
Like no lion's going to go to a supermarket and buy meat, you know. I think that comfort is kind of, at least, I'm not gonna say depressing, but to a certain degree, I think it is.
Mm,
Life, you don't have perspective.
mm.
You know when you're really thirsty because you're doing an exercise and all you want is like a glass of water, and that glass of water is just like the best glass of water ever,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
Why? Because you're thirsty. You
Mm,
know, we don't go thirsty, we don't go hungry, We don't go, like with basic needs. So we concern ourselves with some other things and we don't realize that's actually a fight for survival
Mm,
in the long run. I'm not talking about we need to go hungry or we need to go thirsty. I just don't think we have the perspective as the mankind of it's going to be over.
mm.
Like if we continue to burn down the forest and bring everything down, it's going to be in 30 years, we are going to go hungry.
Yeah,
It's not sustainable. You
yeah.
said about how do you know the fungi is actually talking to the plants about changing at least the plants that they're eating or something like that. They're
Yeah,
collecting.
I there's a documentary
Yeah,
on public broadcasting station PBS here that's called Green Planet. So it's about plant life on the Earth, very focused on the role plants play. And there's a couple of episodes, one of them being like human worlds or tropical worlds. And so it was in that documentary that I learned about it for the first time. It was fascinating to see, but it was speaking mostly about plants' defense mechanisms, whereas other animals have mechanisms that are more like moving away. If you're stuck in one spot,
yeah,
what are the defense
yeah,
mechanisms for you? And also the importance of networks, which is one of the also beautiful things I love about this book on fungus is the importance of networked resiliency, that when you have diversity, but connected diversity, you have much better chance of everything. Better chance of survival, better chance of defense, better chance of collaboration. So anyway,
yeah.
that's from that.
I think I saw that documentary. I know at least the example that you gave.
David Attenborough does an amazing job. I just think he's such an incredible human.
Yeah, I think I saw like it's Blue Planet, right?
Yeah, Blue Planet is more about ocean or plant as a whole, importance of water. This is a very plant focused one.
Yeah, I think I saw it. I do saw a documentary in fungi. I don't know if you saw it. I might
Mm.
have to research the name to give it to you. But did you see about the fungi or the mushrooms that came up? I think it was in Chernobyl.
Oh, no, tell me. That sounds fascinating.
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, is like a mushroom or like a species of fungi that they are resistant to radiation.
Oh, yes.
And I
Hmm.
think that's just amazing, amazing.
Yes.
Like in a very short period of time, they already developed like a resistance to something. And that's what I'm saying about life moving on.
Yeah.
Like if we burn down the forest, something's gonna come up.
Yeah.
It's just not going to be us,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. That perspective. You said that from the beginning of the importance of perspective
Yeah,
of what our decisions come to. Okay, I have one more thing to
yeah,
share, and then we'll try to take it back to AI, although this has been such a fun
yeah,
diversion. Uh,
yeah, yeah,
I'm just
for
going to
sure.
mention that in June, so in June, the Cultivate Ecosystem has our big disaster exercise planetary health conference. And so one of the things we're going to try this year is participating in the Dark Sky Initiative. So Dark Sky Initiative is just working to get humans to turn off their lights and let animals and the planet have a little bit of dark. So decreasing light pollution, but also I think it's about awareness of your footprint, awareness that you are putting out lots of lumens of light that you don't need to. Why are you putting that much energy out into the world? So anyway, Dark Sky Initiative, and on Friday of our event, so that's June 20th, we're going to host a dark sky party here in Colorado and hopefully anywhere else that it wants to participate. And essentially all that means is you turn off your lights and you ask your neighbors to turn off their lights and just create as much dark sky as possible and spend some time looking at the stars and recognizing that little choices that we make do have impact. But importantly, because our June event is a global event, we're talking about planetary health. Wherever anyone is in the world, you can participate. This is also the summer solstice, so it's a really an important time to think about what our planet is doing. So on June 20th, if anyone wants to participate, you can have your own dark sky party, and all you have to do is turn off your lights and go outside and look up at the sky and ask your neighbors to turn off their lights as well. So the goal, I don't know, we'll make it this year, would be a Earth's rotation of greater darkness. How cool would that be if we
Nice.
could
That's
make some
nice.
impact there?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I love the topic about the space.
Mm,
I just love it about like let's shut everything, not everything down, but let's reduce the light and see the space. And I
Hmm.
don't know if you are planning to do so. I mean, Colorado has a beautiful, beautiful sky.
Yeah.
Maybe just going out a little further in the woods and just like you say, like star seeing,
Yep.
sightseeing. No, it's
Stargazing,
like
usually.
star seeing,
Stargazing.
stargazing.
Party.
Yeah,
So the goal would be to kind of have lots of areas turn off their light and then stream a couple of lectures. I'd love to find my father is an entomologist. I don't know that he would want to teach this lecture, but some beetles navigate by the stars and I'm worried about how are they finding their way if there's so much light pollution. So I'd love to find an entomologist to talk
yeah.
about kind of the consequence of that. Anyway, I think it'll be really fun.
So we came to a mountain and they had, I think it's elk. They invaded like it's not like a village, like a further away neighborhood that's
Uh-huh.
like in the mountains.
Uh-huh.
They come down and they just keep eating the grass of the yards
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. But we came to like to an isolated place where the elk was. And we have, I don't know, I think it was like a reproduction time or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the females were like among the males, and the
Mm-hmm.
males have like a lot of females.
Yeah.
And the females go like from one male to another, and they keep fighting over
Mm-hmm.
them. So it was like the end of the afternoon, and the elks were like bashing their antler. It's like antlers, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like really loud. They're like
Yeah.
really big, it's like ah, and it
Yeah.
just they're keeping. They kept banging their antlers, and the night came and we were watching the sky.
Mm.
I don't know if it was that day, but we could actually see like Saturn's rings
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah,
with the
absolutely.
scope. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy because you have like such a beautiful sky. And I love the topic about the space because exactly of what I was talking about perspective.
Yes.
I watched like all of the episodes in Cosmos,
Yeah.
like the documentary, the series. Like,
Hmm.
hey man, we are so small. We are so tiny. We keep like arguing and we keep like fighting over nothing basically. It's like tiny speck of dust. And I think it adds perspective, like this
Absolutely.
stargazing.
Absolutely. That feeling of being really small, but also of awe, different from feeling
Yeah,
small in the midst of
yeah,
like, I don't belong here, I'm not sure what I'm doing, kind of that can happen in a lot of our created worlds. The awe and the wonder of being small in something that is doing its thing and does not care that you're there and is just carrying on about its business, but is amazing and complex and beautiful. That feeling is such a missing part, I think, of our health as humans, but we're not going in the right direction of making it better. And that's what just grieves my
yeah,
soul. But then also, we're stealing it from others around us. But that piece is so, so beautiful and so blissful. I hear a lot of people talk about that, especially in Colorado, of loving the outdoors, but yet the decisions we're making about what we're building to enjoy the outdoors sort of just that it doesn't make sense. There's a logic gap in so many of our actions. Where I live in Colorado and where my practice is, you can still see a lot of the sky at night. But just recently, there was a really big apartment complex built close by, and it's noticeable. There's no darkness, and it really upsets me as a human. And I can't even imagine how it impacts just all of the wildlife that we have around us, particularly because the lights that are in this complex are not being used. It'll be like this light that's flickering because no one's paying attention to it. And it's so hard to think about the lack of attention and the impact, and then how do you engage with that? So we're going to host a dark sky party. And one of the reasons for a
nice.
dark
That's
sky
nice.
party is to be able to talk to your neighbors and say, hey, would you turn off your lights for a night? No big deal, just one night. You can do it.
Yeah,
Go to bed early or come
yeah,
out and see the stars with us. And isn't this different? Like it really can make a huge impact. So June
yeah,
20th, the Friday, turn off your lights and join us for a
yeah.
dark sky
And I
party.
love this. Just one term that I would like to add is the humility
Mm,
of it. like of having such a big universe and just addressing how small you are. I don't want to make it seem like it's small. You don't, nobody cares about you and you don't need to care about anything because you're so small.
Yeah.
I think at least the lesson that we need to learn is the other way around. Is like we are part of something greater.
Yeah.
You know, like nature and the universe. We are part of that, and that it's huge. And one thing I think it was Carl Sagan that said this. I don't know if it was Neil Tyson DeGrasse, which is like his successor,
Hmm.
but I think it was Carl Sagan that said, "We are dust from the stars."
Yeah.
Like the same elements that we found in the stars is the one that we have in our bodies.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
most likely, like I don't know, billions of years ago, we had stars here where we are in space, and that matter is the matter that composes our
Yeah.
bodies, you
Yeah.
know, so we are the same, you know. So I just think that teaches a great lesson in humility. And about the neighbors and community, I just love that because I think that that's missing in our modern world, you know. And we are so hooked up on television, on staying indoors and not socializing, not building community. I feel that a lot. Like
Yeah.
we isolate ourselves and we are social animals, you know, like we need to have social interactions. And stargazing, I just think it's a great idea of having that.
I'm so excited for it. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, nice.
Okay,
That's nice.
let's do AI stuff. Anything you want to say for the recording as we close, and then we'll turn off the recording and look at your program. Anything you want to say as we transition?
I don't know. I feel like I talked a lot today. I
This
hope
was so
everyone that's
fun.
watching this recording. Yeah, yeah. And I think we need to have more discussions about it. We are so focused on some other issues and some other problems and, you know, modern day-to-day stuff that I just sometimes I think most people don't have the headspace for it.
Mm.
You know, and if we don't have the headspace and we don't talk about it, we don't raise awareness of it. I appreciate the conversation.
All right, guys, we'll see you in office hours sometime soon. Remember, you can submit questions if you have something you just want to hear others talk about, or you can always jump on and join us. We're hopeful to start incorporating more case studies, some holistic medicine case studies and integrative case studies. So stay tuned for some of that. See y'all next time.
See ya.